Thank you, whoever did that. All right. So, and we'll go back and I'll hit a little bit for those that, since we hit the recording late, so I apologize. But yeah, so we're there to help support physically, emotionally, and spiritually holistic needs during the death process. But one of the things that we teach here at IDLM is that end of life doulas, death doulas should be working with everybody here now. So that means each and every one of you here today and that are watching this later should all have an end of life doula, because we need to get to know you. We need to develop that relationship with you. We need to get to know your family. Just think about it. Do you have a trusted person that you take your vehicle to, or a trusted person that handles your insurance policies? Well, guess what? That's what the doula is. We're like a part of your insurance policy. And we get to know families, and we get to know the ins and outs of their family, of, mom, dad, sister, brother, everybody in that family network there. We get to know about them. And so when the time comes that maybe they go into the hospital or they're needing some type of support, guess who they're going to call? Their trusted doula, their trusted advocate, to come and see them. And we need to start educating now, because there are many things, such as dementia, for example, that people can't voice what they want and don't want. So if we do these things now and prepare our families now, then when that time comes that we get a terminal illness, because there, of course, I'm going to tell you, there's only two ways to die. It's going to be fast and instant, or you're going to have a terminal illness. And so one of those two things happens. So you're covered either way, because if it's an instant death, well, guess what? You've already had your doula there and you've already prepared. So your family knows what type of decisions to make, because you've already talked about it. You've already laid those things out. If it is a terminal illness, that's where your doula is going to come involved. The doula can be helping as a companion to give the family respite. The doula can be there to help guide and reinforce the education from hospice. So that's just a little bit there about death and end of life doulas. What do? We are there, like I was talking about a second ago, but there's more to it. And I have to tell you this right off the bat. Every doula practice is different. My practice is different from Pam's. My practice is different from Lee's, vice versa. We each bring in to our practice specialty areas that we're really good at. And so we're there to support and give a sacred space at that time, provide that emotional and spiritual support, initiate conversations about the dying process. When is the right time to be on hospice? We educate about the stages. We're there to help acknowledge mysteries and unexplained events, and do something, not every doula does this, but as a doula, I call them my angel vigil watches. And basically that's sitting vigil. That's being there for a long length of time with family. Again, not every doula has to do this. And you can also set your boundaries as to how much time you're going to spend. It doesn't have to be all day and all night. Whatever is comfortable and workable between you and your family that you're working with. Some other things that we do, like I mentioned earlier, about the advocate, being that advocate to say, did you know that you have the right to do this? Did you know that you have the right to ask about this? Do you know that you have the right to ask for an extension of your stay in the hospital? And this is, again, going back to why it's so important that doulas start working with families now. Because I had a client that was very, very sick, didn't know which way it was going to go. And the daughter, who's a young daughter, did not realize that she could request for more days if she didn't feel like her father was well enough to leave the hospital. She could request when he went into a rehab center, a skilled rehab center, that she could appeal the decision. But guess who also helped with that appeal? Me. Because I knew what to say. I knew what to look at and look at the information that was being given. And guess what? We've won those appeals because they had a doula. We can help with legacy work. And many people think legacy work has to be this long, drawn out thing. No, it doesn't. It can be cheap, quick, and easy. We're there to provide companionship. I always say families need to be who they are in the family role at times, because sometimes we get so carried away in working and being that support and that caregiver that we don't have time to be the daughter. We don't have the time to be the son or the husband or the wife or the spouse, partner, whatever. We lose that sense of that role at times when we're caregiving. So it's so important that we have that time as a doula to help support the families, help them navigate through the medical system, like I was explaining there. The rights as a patient, I will never forget when we had started one of our cohorts, I talked about patient rights. And one of the things is I said that you have the right to choose what hospice you go on. You have the right to choose what home health you use. And they go, I never thought about that. Typically when you go in the hospital, they say, oh, we've already assigned you to this home health agency, or we've assigned you to this hospice. You have the right as a patient to say, no, I want to know more. I want to interview hospices. I want to interview home health agencies that I'm going to use. And don't worry, we've got you covered there too, because we have sheets that tell you to help you, guide you, to tell you how to help your families ask those questions. End of life paperwork, advanced planning, funeral planning, memorial services. Those are all important aspects. So another question that we quite often get is becoming a death doula or having death doula services something new? Well, no, that's just the quick answer. The term doula was used since the 1980s in relations to birth and postpartum care, but was first applied to death in care in the late 1990s. Think about it. Who cared for the sick when someone was sick? Who was there when someone was birthing? Those were doulas. Someone that stays with the person and cares for them. And then they knew when it was time to call, and, people would go out and dig the grave or make the coffin because they knew that person's time was coming soon. So yes, doulas have definitely been around. So you're probably wondering, are doulas non-governed? Are there any accreditations? Doulas operate in non-governed field, and there is no official accreditations for doulas or doula programs. Some organizations may claim to be accredited, but this is a big red flag. There are no such accreditations that even exist. Additionally, many programs label themselves as doula training programs when in reality, they're more focused on exploring mortality or a spiritual journey rather than providing practical tools for doula work. Another common issue is programs that promise to equip you with everything you need but fail to deliver. As a trainer and practicing doula, we often hear from students who experience what we call the skim the surface syndrome. Yeah, that is where programs provide only superficial information or leave out critical aspects entirely. Even when some of the longest standing programs are guilty of this, unfortunately, they often take students' money without adequately preparing them for the responsibility of doula work, leaving them to navigate this calling on their own. This is why we do what we do here and how we train here at IDLM, providing comprehensive and practical support training to empower doulas through their journey. So when students enroll in our courses, they don't just come in and just be students and graduates. They become friends. They get our personal phone number. They can reach out to us anytime, whether it's for a personal event that's happening, or maybe they just need some help through a client that they're experiencing something firsthand. Are certifications needed? And at this time, certifications are not required for doulas. And many programs are based solely on personal experiences of their creators. While these individuals may have practiced 10, 15, 20 years ago, their approach often reflects past experiences rather than realities of today. Some of these so-called certification programs amount to little more than discussions, lack of the depth and focus required to truth and dedicated training. Worse yet, some programs dismiss these falsified information and improper practices. A concern we hear quite frequently, not only from our students, we've also witnessed firsthand And as Pam and I can tell you, conferences that we've been at, we've talked to the National Hospice and Palliative organizations and other major organizations that are wanting to utilize doulas, but they're scared because of the mix of trainings out there. And so that is why we find that a lot of programs that, or excuse me, organizations that we work with tend to want to work with us because they realize the in-depth training that we provide to our students and our graduates. We do believe that certification is essential. We provide a comprehensive, in-depth education that is grounding in current practices and knowledge. Our instructors are not only experts in their fields, but they're actively practicing in this profession. So this is ensuring that they stay connected to what is happening today. Medicare makes all these updates, Medicaid makes all these updates, and the care model itself changes what we need to do for our clients. So being that our instructors are working actively in this industry, that is that knowledge that you're getting. And this is one of the reasons, to be quite honest, that we update our program every year. We also recognize that it's only a matter of time before doula industry adopts a formal guideline and certification requirements to establish professional standards. And so here at IDLM, we're preparing for the future. Our training goes beyond the basics of bedside support, comforting the dying. We provide a robust, current, and forward-thinking curriculum designed to prepare our students and IDLM as a whole for when that certification day becomes necessary standards for end-of-life doulas. So what should a certification program offer? At IDLM, we offer a comprehensive training that equips doulas to address a full spectrum of end-of-life needs, whether you're seeking a foundation knowledge or you're wishing to specialize and expand your practice. Our program is designed to guide you and set you up for success. Our training prepares doulas to support both progressive thinkers and those who want to plan ahead, and individuals navigating the unpredictably of life and needs urgent guidance. We provide the tools and assist crafting thoughtful plans for future while also responding to immediate needs and unforeseen circumstances with clarity and care. As a well-trained doula should understand the importance of balancing long-term planning and addressing pressing immediate needs. At IDLM, we train our doulas to both serve clients and their chosen families, offering support through every stage of the end-of-life process. Our curriculum includes legacy work, helping clients documents and preserving their values and stories and wishes, preparing important documents, ensuring critical paperwork is complete and accessible. Final stage planning, offering guidance in physical, emotional, logistical aspects of end of life, family education, educating loved ones to the stages of end of life and helping them understand what to expect, grief support, assisting families in coping with loss and finding a way forward. A doula work never ends, the immediate needs of the family. And instead, the doula becomes a trusted, valuable person that, just as a doctor, any other professional that we would rely on. Over time, the doula begins to have and build a deep relationship with families they serve, offering continuity, comfort, and profound understanding of their unique history and needs. We are committed here to provide training that is not only preparing doulas to navigate the complexity of end of life, but also ensuring that they are equipped to foster meaning, lasting relationships with the families they support. So Pam, would you like to share why doulas, because I'm pretty sure they're tired of hearing me talk. Would you like to share why end-of-life doulas are needed if hospice is available?
I certainly would. End-of-life doulas are the co-team to the hospice team. And when I say the co-team, an end-of-life doula that had the opportunity to work with a family has had the chance to get to know that family. And they're that friend they didn't know they needed that they now suddenly have. The doula works hand in hand with your hospice company. And every family at end of life needs hospice. They also need that doula to work with them. Hospice says they're there 24/7. What they're really saying is they're there 24/7 by phone. They're not there 24/7 in person. So when they have a doula, there is someone that can be available to that family 24 hours a day. Our elder populations are growing. We're facing what is known, or you may have even heard called, the gray tsunami. Because before the end of the next century, we are going to have more people that are in the senior citizen category that need help than ever before. And so people have got to be prepared for that. And the way we can help families prepare is by becoming end of life doulas. We help when the hospices are short. Sometimes hospices, and they're overworked because what are they supplying? They are supplying the medical and the medical guidance and all the supplies. They're the ones that are bringing in the physicians to look at the patients. They have more clients. I know my hospices here in Atlanta have more clients than they can almost handle. So when they have a doula that's working with them, they've got another set of eyes. They've got someone that can be there when the hospice company can't. You know, hospice is paid by Medicare, and they set the guidelines for the hours and numbers of people that can service a family at end of life. When you have a doula, nobody guides us. You're really working with that family and y'all are working your schedule. So nobody's going to say to you, you've already been there 16 hours and you can't go back. When you have hospices, unfortunately, they have governed hours such as, and they are told how long they should be there for each appointment. A doula fills in that gap. A doula is end of life care 24/7, always available. And just like Anna said earlier, some doulas do not do bedside vigil. Others do bedside vigil. And when you do bedside vigil, a doula can be with a family sometimes as little as 4 hours and sometimes 16 or 24 hours, depending on how long it takes for a death to progress. Unfortunately, our hospice companies do not have the manpower or the time to be there with families like that. So doulas and hospices work together. They're like those two pieces of the puzzle that just fit, and they need one another. How's that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, that kind of brings us to hospice and end of life doulas and seeing the difference. So as you can see from the slide here, hospice is listed all right here. So hospice manages the medical care. They're covered by insurance. They have licensing. So we have doctors, nurses, CNAs or home health aides. We have someone, social worker, the volunteer coordinator, the bereavement coordinator. There's licensing in those different areas. The care is defined. They go out and pronounce the death, and then they do provide bereavement care. Typically hospice bereavement, so they will typically serve maybe they'll have a memorial service. Some hospices do more than others, depending on the area that you're in and the hospices that are in your area. It's really up to each individual hospice. Some do more than others, like I said. But typically what happens is they do also send letters, and these letters go out every 1 month, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 13th month. They get those letters. And so there's more support that we can do as a doula because our bereavement process becomes organic. We get to know these families so well that when everybody else 6 months, 12 months later that doesn't want to hear that repeating story or feel that mom should already be over this, we're there to support and provide some bereavement support there. We also provide non-medical care. We have skill sets, again, different from doula to doula. There are no regulating boards. We are typically private hired or contracted. Now, there are some great things, and I want to mention this because we do have quite a few of you from New Jersey area. So, Lee, I don't know if you have a second, if you could share for a brief moment about how you all at Karen Ann Quinlan Hospice is utilizing end-of-life doulas.
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So how we're utilizing them, we have a program, it's called the Navigators. people who have been trained and have agreed to volunteer, some of their time to help with the Navigator program is staffed by our end-of-life doulas. So it's a volunteer service. So we make our services available to the community at no additional charge at this point to the community. I mean, if it was something where they had to contract a doula privately for like a vigil that was, 12 hours or 24 hours, anything above the normal, volunteer, out of the scope of just being a volunteer, we would contract. But right now we offer all of our doula services to the community at no charge, and it's staffed by the doulas who are volunteers for our organization.
And Lee, would you mind sharing first, from your organizational standpoint, why y'all chose IDLM, and to making sure that any of your Navigator end-of-life doulas are trained through our program?
Sure. I mean, as people from New Jersey know, or people around the nation know about the story of Karen and Quinlan Hospice. And, we have the reputation in the community. We've been here for more than 44 years, the reputation in the community of quality and excellence in service. So when we were looking for an organization to help us start with the Navigator program and to train our doulas, of course, we were looking for the best school that we could find. And some of the things that at IDLM that stood apart from the other training bodies were that, number one, I know you didn't get into it yet, but the continuing education, I know you'll get into more of that later. We like the community of the movement platform of everyone from around the world being united in one platform. So it wasn't just like one doula out there by themselves. It was a whole community of doulas in this movement of end-of-life doulas. We loved that we can communicate with you and Pam directly. It's not often that you get a chance to communicate with the founder of the organization who had the vision and the mission to start the training. And that is so important to have that contact where we can reach out to you, at any time, and you get back to us in a timely manner. That's invaluable, because this is new to us, and to have your experience on the phone in 5 minutes or whatever it takes for you to text me back is awesome. And we like that, the whole platform, and that you can go back and review some of the modules that we did, or you can jump back into a live class to refresh your skills, was, just amazing. So it's a continuing education. You continually learn. And that you said every year you refresh the program and keep it active and keep it new and add new modules. It was a no-brainer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's very important. And I wanted y'all to be able to hear like one aspect of how a hospice is utilizing doulas, as well as their experience with utilizing doulas. And so there are a lot of amazing things happening in the New Jersey and PA and New York area right now that are in the process. And but there is that difference. And so I feel like eventually there are going to be more job opportunities within hospices as we go in and educate them. And so, but just to kind of give you, like I said, a little bit difference between hospice and doulas. But how do you know if this is something for you? You do not have to have a medical background. If you do, great. If you don't, that's completely okay. But you don't have to have experience being a caregiver, but if you do, great. But you do want to have that background of wanting to help others and an ability to be an advocate, be non-judgmental, because we have to meet people where they're at. We may not agree with the course of actions that they're taking, but I always tell my families, think of me as your neutral party. I'm going to come in, and on this card table, I'm going to put out cards, and all these cards are different resources and choices that you can make. I just want you to make an informed decision for the best decision for yourself. And so that's what you have to be able to do as a doula. You have to meet people where they're at to be able to hold space for a complex of emotion. even potentially sitting with someone as they're dying. So another big question that I get often is, can end-of-life doulas make money? And the answer is yes. And I want to bring your attention to right here where the Grave Woman really says this best. She says, is becoming a funeral or death care or end-of-life professional is not about poverty. You deserve to earn a living serving others during one's most difficult times of their life. Stop letting society guilt you into thinking that you don't. And so, but I will tell you, I'm not going to paint a pretty picture for you. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's always what you're going to get here at IDLM from any of our instructors. You do have to commit yourself if that's something that you want to make as a practice. You do have to educate your community. You do need to ask for help. You need to be able to say, text Anna or Pam and say, I need help with this. I have a question about this. Or pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, I have a question about this. Moments before I got on this call, I was on a phone with one of our graduates. We do provide a business 101. So if that is something that you're wanting to do, we provide you a free business 101 course that is 7 modules with workbooks. And we do teach it live several times throughout the year. We're having one coming up in January. Then we provide you free continuous support through our IDLM Doula mentoring program. And that is where we have monthly meetings. We do different workshops geared towards marketing and helping you to build your business. We also just launched this year another course that we call, but that is a paying course, is called Grit to Pearl. And the Grit to Pearl course is really a big accountability, number one, but it also has allowed us as doulas to lean on one another because we're in the same, they feel like they're in the same situation of building this out in their community. Maybe there's not many doulas around, or there is doulas, but they are not working their business. But I will tell you, yeah, social media is great, but the bottom line of it is, if you want to have a successful doula practice, you got to get out in your community. You have to. Here at IDLM, we offer an end-of-life doula training program that covers multi-specialty areas such as companion, life planning, contemplative, and end-of-life doula. We also offer additional specialties for end-of-life doulas, but this is where you can tweak your practice, make it more specialized. If you're called to working with pediatrics, we have a pediatric end-of-life doula. If you want to add pet doula, if you want to support those that are losing their pets, we have a pet doula program. We have a grief support program, a grief doula program. We have a dementia doula program. We have a program about medical aid in dying made. So all students who complete our courses, they will receive discounts on future education. So once you take your initial course here at IDLM, you become family. And so all of our other courses, you do get discounts for. We do offer several different formats. We have live online classes. We also have live in-person classes, which is currently San Antonio, Austin, New Jersey, and Arkansas. And then we'll be in Brooklyn in the fall of 2025. We do also offer self-paced courses as well. So I want to hit on a little bit here. I'm not going to read all of them because you can see them here, but I want to hit on some of the modules that we cover in our program. We have recently just added 3 more modules or 4 more modules this coming year. So we do have one called a doula's guide to personal safety and boundaries. You need to know those boundaries that you need to set up as a doula for yourself, for self-care, and for your clients. We do also cover Doula 101, which is basically going over what is hospice, the difference between palliative, patient rights, all that great stuff. We do hold a code of ethics and scope of practice. We talk about inclusivity practices, LGBTQ+. We also have our contemplative doula module and getting in touch with your own mortality. We also discuss and help teach you about holding end of life and death discussions in your community. We talk about the end of life and the EOL and the death deck, which we actually have many partnerships here at IDLM. So the creators of the death deck and the EOL deck actually have a module in our program, and they'll teach you how to utilize these game cards to open the conversation with your families that you are working with. We also have a partnership with Barbara Carnes. And so we have licensing rights and special permission that we're able to share with you the 3-part series of This Is How People Die. And those recordings go in your portal, so you will always be able to go back and rewatch those. We also have a partnership with Odonata Care, the hospice care plan. It's an amazing tool. We have a special module in here that talks about how to utilize the book with educating your families that you're working with. We do apprenticeships throughout our program, and those are different in each different situation. So the in-person classes, you will be doing activities to sharpen those skills, and so that when you finish the program, you feel more comfortable going out and supporting clients. If you're online, we just basically take those skills concepts and do them in breakout rooms and activities in classroom. We also talk about coping with grief and loss. As a doula, you need to be able to be able to look at a client and say, oh my gosh, you know what? They've got anticipatory grief, and have those resources to give to them. We talk about that. Now, doulas are non-governed, doulas are non-medical, yes, but we do cover common diseases and infection control. We talk about the common diseases because I want doulas to make sure to know and understand what they are seeing the staff do. And when they hear these different diseases, they know what things they can do as a doula to help their clients through these disease processes. We also have a pediatric hospice and parent loss module. We're going to talk about client safety and care and bedside support. We're going to talk about companion doula. And then if you choose that you do want to have a business, we have a beautiful partnership with Doula, which is a platform that you can run your business. That means you can send out your agreements. There's templates there for you that you can edit and make more of your own. It's really just running your business through that platform. You can make notes in there and all kinds of amazing stuff. We do talk about doula paperwork and agreements and forms, of which we give you all those templates. We want you as a doula to brand yourself, not brand Ideala. Okay, so you have access to these forms that you can create, make a copy of. It's very easy. We give you instructions on how to do that. And then you can add your own logo. You can add your personal information and your personal touches to it. We also go over home wakes, cremations, and funerals, and green options, and celebrations and ceremonies. And I'm going to skip over one and come right back, and I'm going to turn it over here to Pam for a second. But caring for the clients and their pets, that is going to be a self-study module that we have in our program that Lindy Carter, who is one of our pet doula instructors and course creators, talks about. What do you do if you have a client that has pets? What are we going to do with the pets? So she gives you some great resources there. We talk about making memories and legacy work, end of life religions, and how to present to your community. And so now I want to kind of turn this over for a second to Pam. So remember I had mentioned that we offer specialty courses. Our 2.5 hours that we get you typically on this topic for end of life planning is not enough time, because we have a whole secondary program that's over 80 hours, 17 weeks of education on advanced planning. And so Pam, can you kind of hit a little bit and talk about why we have that separated? We cover the basics in the doula program, but we have a whole other side to it.
Yes, we do, Anna. And in the doula program, you're going to get enough to cover your client in what we call the 13th hour. That means these people have not really had time to put an advanced care plan together. You're going to learn to work with a very simple document called 5 Wishes. And the first 3 wishes is all about their medical care and how they want to be taken care of. And the last 2 wishes is about how they physically, emotionally, spiritually want to be taken care of at the end of life. But advanced care planning goes way beyond this 4 or 5 page booklet. Often when you go to your physician, the doctor says to you, do you have an advanced care plan? And typically what they hand to you is the directive, which is perfect if you're an attorney, because then they tell you, take it home, fill it out, and bring it back. Nobody explains it to you. With the advanced care planning class, in the 2-hour class that's held within the doula training, you understand how that booklet works, and we touch on the most important basics of advanced care planning. But within the advanced care planning standalone course, we cover everything from A to Z, from birth certificates, death certificates, former divorces, marriage certificates, car titles, house titles, bank titles, anything that someone is involved with, we cover all those aspects. When someone puts together a complete advance directive, they've got a 3.5-inch ring binder filled with their life that they can literally turn around and hand to somebody else, and they can run your life for you. Now, that sounds like a lot of detail, but we all need it, because in the end, we may not be able to speak for ourselves and pay our bills. Someone that's working with us needs to know how to do that. In the end, somebody may not know about that secret checking account. And we do talk about where people put their money because they're saving it for a purpose. But if you don't know where to look to find out where they're saving it, you're in real trouble.
Absolutely.
And we talk about the uncomfortable aspects of talking about death. We talk more in detail in this class about doing a eulogy, doing an obituary, and planning a celebration of life, because that is all included in end of planning. So the standalone course for the certified life planning specialist, like Anna said, it's an in-depth course. It's over 80 hours worth of material. What I give you in 101 lectures doesn't even match what you find in your portal. And I will tell you that most people take my class more than once. I've got about 15 people coming back in January because, as Anna said, we update our programs, and we update our programs because, and I have to insert this, we're a lot different than any of the other schools in that all our teachers are what we refer to as boots on the ground. Every one of us are actively working. Anna's actively working every day. I had 2 appointments today with clients myself. We're all constantly working and staying immersed in the field so that we can bring the best of the best information to our students. And I am going to say this, and this is probably going to shock Anna because I have not told her this. The advanced care planning class, I may only teach this first quarter this year. There is a possibility I'll only teach it once. So I have not committed to a second course this year based on some other things that I'm doing. So if you're interested in advanced care planning, you really want to think about getting into the January class, especially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other areas too that we cover is I'm a doula practitioner. What are your next steps as a doula? So I never want anybody to leave the program and say, well, I don't know what to do next. No, because you get one-on-one. My cohort that just graduated are making appointments between now and next week to meet with me to get their next steps planned. But we do cover and talk about that in the program as well. Again, you do get the free business 101. So we have a total of 33 modules. There are 10 self-studies modules within the program. And then there's over 80 hours of comprehensive training that is brought to you with this as well. And then of course the apprenticeship training. There are assignments, case studies, and quizzes and exams. And don't worry, I'm not a test taker either. Okay. That's totally okay. You can retake those quizzes and the final exam as many times as you need to. So now I want to share with you a quick story. This was actually done by one of our students. Please know that she has a background in putting things together. So don't think, oh my God, I got to put a case study like this together. No, but just know that this is going to show you in a patient perspective what it looks like having a doula by your side. So some perks here at IDLM. Again, we give you that free business 101. So if that is something that you want to do, we will support you in that. We do normally use Google Meets, not Zoom. And so our graduation, we do hold 2 online graduations a year, and they are done through Google Meets. And for those that are taking online classes, that's where we have our graduation. You can invite friends and family. We do have physical certificates that are sent out. We do also have a listing for IDLM Doula Directory. We do have our book club society and continuing education that we provide. We do require our doulas to maintain 12 continuing educations a year, and we do give that for free. We provide ongoing graduate support, updates to your courses, and monthly grief support so that you as a doula are supported Whether if you're going through your own personal grief or you're going through grief maybe of losing a client that you became very close with, we provide that grief support every month. And we are actually, Mackenzie is taking over that, and she is working on setting up some more grief groups, support groups. We do have family, IDLM family events, and we do also have our stage groups. Now, you probably heard us talk a little bit about the movement, and that is what we consider like a Facebook, but it's off of Facebook support. It's a just like Facebook. You can go online, you see the feed and lots of great information, and I'll take you all in there and show you in just a second. But this is where we have ongoing discussions and our group support, our book club, and tons of library and resources there as well. For our students. And I am going to stop the screen share, hopefully. There we go. All right, and I'm gonna take you into the movement. So this is the movement here. We have events, and if you go to the past, you will have access to about almost 3.5 years of past events that we have held, and there's recordings there as well. The only thing we really don't record are our book clubs, our grief support, things like that. But we have, different events. This is one of our mentoring coaching groups that we did. That one is, I believe that one was recorded. Presentation nights that we've shared when we go out and present at different functions. Maddie came in and did a great workshop about grief cards. They're really cool. We do a skills night several times out of the year with the co-creator of the End of Life and Death deck. So a lot of different things, and you can go back in and watch those and have that access. As you can see right here on this side, we have different groups. We have a job board. We have free library resources, workshops, webinars, marketing, business, industry discussions and shares. And this is what it really looks like when you hit your feed. Sorry, my computer's running a little slow, I guess, today. But you'll see that we post there's a lot of different things that get posted. So it's just like Facebook, but just done through Mighty Networks, and you get free access to our community app. So you're probably wondering how much and when do these amazing things happen and take place. And we do offer payment plans, and we'll go over pricing here in just a bit. And then I'm going to also post in here our phone numbers and whatnot. But I just want to open the floor. Does anybody have any questions that they may have from what we presented tonight? And feel free to just throw your hand emoji up or unmute, and we'll see you unmute.
Hi, the name is Kale. It's all right. It's Kale. So
Kale.
it's like, okay. I actually don't have a question. I just wanted to really commend you and Pam for how comprehensive the training is. I just completed a certification as well over this past weekend, and it was really great in its own way. But I also appreciate um, the more practical aspect of IDLM. So that's pretty much what I wanted to throw into the conversation. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, like I said, I was speaking with somebody today, a new partnership, and one of the things I said, look, we're not like any other program out there. We take very serious about what we do here at IDLM and the support and what we teach about. It's always updated and always interactive, and you have that community aspect. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? There is a question here that also says, are there any common struggles working with funeral services? I don't have any problems because I go out and educate. I work with a lot of funeral homes actually here in my own state, but it's how you approach it, how you talk to them. And that is a conversation that we do have in our doula program to help guide you through that conversation, so that when you go to your local funeral homes, you know that you will have a successful outcome with that. But honestly, and one of the things, because we work with Benny and Nick, Dr. Nick from they're in Michigan. They're off of, I think, a fourth or fifth generation funeral home. And that's one of the things I asked Benny as a funeral director if he'd come in and also do a CE night on that as well. But yeah, definitely. It's long as you're talking and communicating and letting them know that we're just as much there for them as we are, they're there for us as well. Lee?
Unmute. Okay. You're talking about funeral directors. Like we did a what was it? Death over dinner. You know, a death over dinner event, and we held it at our local, one of our local funeral homes. And
Yeah,
what a partnership that started with them. Because number one, when we got in there and we asked all the funeral directors, hey, so how many of you guys have your advanced directives done? And none of them did. So it was like, well, you know, in order to help others with mortality and facing their own mortality, you guys have to be able to face yourself mortality as funeral directors. So that just really developed a great partnership, and they want us back in there, you know, back there to host more death over dinners and, you know, build a stronger relationship with them.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Anybody else have any questions?
Sorry, Anna, who sent out the email for the link? Does it come from you or does it?
It comes from me.
I'm just looking for it for some reason. I can't find it.
Okay, no worries. When we get off of here, I can send it out to you again. That's not a problem.
You too, Elizabeth Lynn. I have it. I just don't. I got into it. I already am registered. I just don't have one to send to her.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, no worries. I'll get one over.
I'm registered and paid to go to
Oh,
the.
you're so welcome. Yeah, no worries. I'll get you. I have your email. I'll get it over to you as soon as we're done tonight. Yeah, I'll send it over. Does Wendy, I see you have your hand up.
I was just wondering, so when you talk about the actual courses, and if I was to go in person, are they at night? Are they on the weekends or during the day?
So good question. So there are different times. So you are in New Jersey, which would probably be close for you to go and join the course with Lee, and I'll be there as well in New Jersey. But our live online, or excuse me, our live in-person classes meet about 2 times a month. And Lee, I forgot the time. I think it's, what is it, 10 to 6? Sorry, I have too many classes in my head. Too many locations I'm keeping up
Yes.
with.
So the New Jersey course is every other Saturday starting January 25th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, that's good because so I'm working right now, but I'm thinking of, moving down this path, and I don't want to leave my job, obviously, until I'm
Right.
well trained.
Yeah.
And that's why we, like the first two cohorts we had were like on Friday morning and afternoon. So we wanted to try to move the class around so that we can get a different people in who work a traditional 9-to-5 job and have the weekends open to take the course.
Okay, great.
And
Thank
so
you.
when you're welcome. And when you go to our website, you'll go to internationaldoulalifemovement.com. When you click courses, you're going to see live and in person. You'll see Austin, San Antonio, and then you'll scroll down a little bit and you'll see the Karen Ann Quinlan, New Jersey location. Just click view details. It pops open a huge box open of all the information with the date, the times, and because that class in New Jersey starts on January 25th. And so it'll take you to the registration and the payment options there as well. So I hope that helps. But if you have any questions though, Wendy, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Lee. One of the things, let's see, I saw there was something I wanted to post. One of the things I wanted to share, so typically when we do a workshop like this, we thought, you know what, we need to do something special. So currently right now, all of our courses are at a discounted price because they will be going up come January. And so I'm going to share in the chat box some bundle offerings that we have. If you want to take advantage of a bundle, let me know. Just send me an email so that, or call me, and then I'll get you set up, because these bundles offerings are not in our website. So you have to reach out to me to take advantage of those bundlings. So that is there. I'm going to go ahead and also repost my phone number, my email. Does anybody else have any questions? Please feel free. Don't be scared. This is a safe space to ask questions. You know, because somebody else might have that same question.
Are we going to be required to do some volunteer work sometime?
So in our live in-person classes, there is a clinical day. So you will be going to the Home for Hospice and the Bereavement Center where the classes are held. There'll be some hands-on training there.
And if I can say, like, if it's in New Jersey and the Karen and Quinlan program, some of the volunteer training, if you do decide to move on and volunteer with us, that it only strengthens your background and your experience when you decide to further move on to your own practice or your own, you know, we get so many calls from doulas now who say, hey, we took this other course, you know, we took a course somewhere and we just want to volunteer, we want to work with you, or we want to shadow some of your people so they can get actual practical experience of actually helping clients, because it can be a little bit daunting going out there on your own without like the support of like Karen and Quinlan Hospice or the support of a hospice. So, you know, that's one of the benefits of the Jersey program, you know, that there is an opportunity to volunteer and you know, get some strength and some practical experience, hands-on experience without, you know, like you said, quitting your day job and going into being a doula full time.
Yeah. And I do, when I go out there, I do let everybody know that I'm coming, so I can also help in any way when I'm there.
So if you do this volunteer time, if you are working a regular 8:30 to 3:30, that's all I work. Can you volunteer around those hours, like, you know, an evening or a weekend or?
Yes, you can. And that's the, you know, good thing about the volunteer program is, and people are dying or need help at all hours of the day. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. So, you know, we had some woman go to a nursing home to help with somebody. Unfortunately, it was kind of late for a doula, but it was a vigil. And, you know, that we work around your hours, and people tell me what they're available so that when a call comes for a navigator doula, then we know who to contact to, you know, to help with us, help with that case.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. And let's see who had their hand up first.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just have a quick question for logistics about the end of life doula program on the website. It says that it starts January 22nd, but it doesn't indicate what day. And the life planning doula is a Tuesdays and Thursday evening. So I was just wondering if there was an overlap or conflict. I'm assuming not, but if I were interested in both of them
Yeah.
as concurrently, I'm assuming it'll be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of.
So the end of life doula, thank you for bringing that out, and I'll update that. But yeah, the online, we do have a weekday class that starts on the 22nd. It does meet on Mondays and Wednesdays from 6:30 Central to about 9:30 Central.
Okay, Mondays and Wednesdays.
Mondays and Wednesdays, yes. And it goes for 12 weeks. And that's why we meet twice a week too, so we can get it done a little bit quicker. So it's not too heavy, but enough to give y'all some breathing room. And then Pam's class, the life planning is on Tuesday and Thursday. Is that correct, Pam? And that one starts on the 14th. So it actually starts a little sooner than the doula class. And that on the 22nd, that's going to be our orientation day for the doula class. And then you'll have the weekend to kind of get into gear of everything. And then Monday we hit the ground running. Good. Carolina? Oh, we just got to get you on mute. There we
Carolina,
go.
actually,
Yes, I
so,
can see you.
I'm just joking. My question is, well, I am here in Peru, so about the practices, maybe we can make them with Monica at her hospice, because there are no hospices in Peru. Actually, there's only one end of life doula here, Monica.
One of our graduates.
She was trained with you.
Yeah.
So maybe we can arrange that over here, no? That I can do my practices there in Cusco.
Yeah, and so you'll do the online class. So what will happen is you'll still do the apprenticeships through our online. So we do apprenticeships in the classroom, and then
Sorry, I can't hear. My internet is not that good.
that's okay. Can you hear me okay now? I think your internet's going in and out.
Now, sorry.
That's okay. I was saying, so you'll still do your apprenticeship because you'll do the online class. You'll still do the apprenticeship and that in the classroom. But for extra hands-on experience, then yeah, we would definitely talk to Monica and see if you can go and volunteer at the house.
Okay, thank you. That was my question. I will try to go. It would be amazing if I could go over there. I'll try to, but if not, maybe.
But you're in New Mexico, right?
No, I'm in Peru.
Peru. Okay, Peru.
I was in Mexico doing a training.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Okay, because I was gonna say Monica's in New Mexico too, because we have another Monica in New Mexico.
No, Monica Pfeiffer here in Peru.
Okay, good. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But yes, so any of the classes that you want to sign up for, like I said, there are direct links. One thing I wanted to say, Margarita, your question, yeah, is anybody else maybe terrified with anticipation? You know, that is why we do the things that we do the way we do it here at IDLM, because we need confidence, we need support, and we walk you through that. And as you're doing the program with the apprenticeships incorporated, some of our graduates from our cohort, very first cohort, came in when we incorporated the apprenticeships, and they said, wow, adding this helps so much. And matter of fact, we even have some graduates that will pop into the classes when we're doing apprenticeships because they love getting that extra interaction and boosting their self-confidence, as well as we do skills nights in the movement as well. So those are sometimes events that we do, that we have skills nights. And so you're constantly building that skill, and constantly you get that boost. You really do get that boost there. Any other questions? All right, so I just want to explain the bundles really quickly here. There are bundles. So if you'd like to do the end of life doula program and the life planning program, the regular price before is 2020, before the 2025 year. These are our current prices. These prices that I have listed in the chat box, and I will put in the email, are only from now until Saturday. So these are special bundles. We don't, like I said, we don't really offer these, and our pricing is going up in the new year. So these are really discounted pricing here. And I'll repost in the chat as well. So for example, the end of life doula and the life planning doula class, you can bundle that for 14, regular price is 16. We do offer payment plans. I put some ideas of some payment plans in there as well. We do have the end of life doula program, the advanced doula program. because we just opened up the advanced doula program, which is an amazing, I'm super excited about it. It's in partnership with one of our partners called Opus Peace, where we're going to talk about veterans and how to care for veterans and the veteran caregivers. We're going to talk about trauma and sex trauma, PTSD, all big topics. That is not on our website just as yet because I just got the approval today, but it should be in the website in the next week. But if you are interested in knowing more about what's included on the advanced doula program, just shoot me an email. I'll send it to you, but I will tell you it's a 6-month-long program. But the bundle I was reading was the end of life doula, the advanced doula, and the life planning doula. Regular price currently is $2,200. This week pricing is $19. There's some payment options. Then we have the end of life doula program, the advanced doula program, the life planning doula program, and the grief, which a lot of people like to take those 3 core courses because they like having that extra experience with grief. Regular price is $2,925, and for this week only, it's going to be $2,525. And then there's some payment plans options. If those payment plans don't work for you, reach out to me. We don't turn away anybody that is called to this line of work. Yes, just have to get with me, Margarita. Let me know what bundle you want to do. And yes, I can absolutely work with you. Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions? All right. Well, thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. Lee, thank you for popping on with us tonight. And Pam, thank you for being here tonight with us as well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I did post in there, and I will send this out in the email that I will send tomorrow. I will send that as well with all the pricing and the emails and phone numbers to reach myself, Lee, or Pam. Yes, we do have scholarships for the online courses. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Sandra, for joining us tonight. Teresa, thank you. Thank you all for joining us, and have a fabulous night. Don't hesitate to reach out to us.
At all. Have a good night.
You too. Wendy,
Thank
I
you
hope
so
to
much.
see you in my next trip to New Jersey, Wendy.
I hope so. We'll see.
All right. I hope to see you there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night, everyone. Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.